Welcome to Part of the Arts with me, Rebecca Godden. In this episode, we're joined by Stephanie Crane. Steph's journey took an unexpected turn in the best possible way. From dreaming of a lifelong career in dance to discovering a new passion, our guest's story is all about embracing change and finding happiness in unexpected places. She trains at the Northern School of Contemporary Dance and at a junior company in Switzerland. And stepping into the professional dance world with big ambition, life had other plans. Now a full-time personal trainer, she may only dance in her kitchen, but she's never been happier. Join us as we chat all about redefining identity, career pivots, and how sometimes letting go of what we thought we wanted leads us to something even better. Hi, Steph. Welcome to Part of the Art.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. We were just saying as we were prepping today, weren't we, how nice it is to hear each other's voices, see each other's face.
It's so lovely. It's so nice.
Yeah, so lovely to catch up. So I'm going to dive straight in here today. I'm going to ask you for your icebreaker. So what have you said either recently or in the past that you've thought, yeah, Steph, that should have stayed in your head?
So this is one from years ago, and I was thinking, what I've done, because I'm surely do this all the time. And one stood out from years ago, and I think you'll find it funny. So obviously my background's in dance, and I must have been in my teenage years, and we were doing this trio. It was all very serious. It was in Birmingham studios at the Hippodrome, and it's a trio. And then we had very quiet classical music and some important directors of the youth company watching. I must have been about like 16. And I did this lunge and just did a massive fart, like out of nowhere. And I just sort of stood up like a little pencil and went, I'm so sorry, I just farted. And then everyone just froze and was kind of like, oh, well, we thought it was the floor, and like didn't find it funny at all. And it was just so embarrassing. And that was just like a moment where you were like, nothing. I don't know why I said that. Like, I made such a massive deal about it. But at the time, I was like, everyone knows I farted. I must apologize. It'd be rude not to. So yeah. No, that was the one that came into my life.
Like, I've got to own it. I've got to own it. Everyone heard that.
Literally.
That's brilliant. Honestly, I'm sure we have all been there in some sort of fitness class, not just a dance class, yoga class or a Pilates class. And we've like done a downward dog or we've bent over.
Yes,
and I feel like everyone has been there doing some sort of sports or dance. And that's brilliant. And everyone was just really serious and was like, yeah, you're being not funny.
Yeah, not funny at all.
God, where's bathroom humour? Bring bathroom humour back. The masses.
So funny.
Thank you for sharing that again.
No worries.
Oh my gosh. Talking of like dance, the theatre world, and is there anything you've seen recently on or off screen that's kind of given you a spark and you've thought, oh, this is what creativity is?
Yeah, so a few months ago, I watched Legally Blonde, and it was choreographed by James Squared, who are actually two really close friends of mine, and they went into Performers College in Birmingham and choreographed their end of year piece, and it was amazing. It was so funny, just incredible choreography, like just amazing. Yeah, really good. I loved it, and I was just laughing all the way through, and yeah, it just
And
felt
a proud moment to see your friends as well.
absolutely. Yeah, that's it. It was really nice.
I saw Hamilton last night again at the Mayflower down south where I live, where I'm based. And I was visiting here. And when we got off the train to come home, there was a poster for like Legally Blonde, like some Amdram kind of version of it. And I was like, oh, that's like weird. That's just like come into the forefront of my
Exactly. And like a movie that I'd watched so many times, but I'd never actually seen it on stage. So yeah, it was brilliant. And yeah, real proud moment for them as well. So that was good.
Oh, that's right. Is it on in the West End now?
No, it's not. It was in like Birmingham and yeah, little back. Yeah.
No.
I'm not sure if it's on at the West End as well, but no, this show.
I don't think it is anymore. I think Mean Girls might have replaced it. As in it's
quite like
that vibe similar. Yeah, I'd quite like to see Mean Girls. Maybe we should go.
We should meet up.
Go see Mean Girls. Go get like pink cocktail.
Like old time.
Like old time. I'm just said like old time. Let's kind of talk about a weird time in both of our lives and careers. So this month marked like the 5-year anniversary of lockdown, which is
Yeah.
wild. And basically, for the listeners, me and Steph were living in East London at the time, literally like a street away. And we were kind of in each other's inner circle, like in each other's bubble, weren't we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Seems like a lifetime ago, but like doesn't seem like 5 years ago, but also does feel like quite a significant time ago as well. Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
it's wild. And I guess it's because well, we kept locking down, didn't we? It's
yeah.
just
Of course.
dragging on, and we were like, "Oh, it's still here."
I
Uh,
know.
and it was just such a being in London during lockdown
Yeah,
was wild. We used to go on like massive walks, didn't
yeah.
we? A lot of time in the dog park.
Yes, the dog park that was right outside my house, which is madness. We did stretching, little classes online. It was
Yeah, with lots of
all
classes online. We also, yeah, like stretching in your front room.
yeah, such
Me
a weird, wonderful
realizing,
time.
yeah, lots of physical time. And me realizing that, I'm no longer really used dance in my practice because Steph was so much more flexible than me.
Not at all.
I was like, well, I can't get my legs that far. But I was like, look, we're trying.
You were great. You were great.
Like, we're trying here. We had the blocks. We had like, basically, I had all the gear and no idea, but you had all the idea. Um, which was brilliant. And that kind of brings me on to like your career. So
Mm,
you started as, well, from a very young age dancing and
yeah.
it was part of your professional career for a
Yeah.
long time. And then you transitioned recently into kind of the world of fitness, which for me actually, makes total sense.
Mm.
Physicality of the job in itself of being a dancer.
Yeah.
Um, can you kind of like take us through your journey, like from those early years, through the training and kind of through where you are now, and I'll kind of jump in.
Yeah, sure. So for me, I've danced since I was a kid, ballet, tap, model, all of that. And I just loved it. And from like a really young age, I was like, I'm going to be a dancer. Like that's all I ever wanted to do. And I sort of never changed from that. Like, I every night in high school and stuff, my parents be chauffeuring me around, thank you, Linda, for that, to every dance class possible. And yeah, after that, I went on to train at Northern School of Contemporary Dance. I auditioned and got in there, and then did a junior company called La Mashpee in Switzerland, which was really fun. And yeah, kind of was in the big dance world, and yeah, I did.
And what was that like for like kind of expectation from training to reality of being in the professional dance
I
world?
think it's for me, it was definitely quite a shock, and I think it is for most people. I don't know, I just assumed, well, I've gone to a really great dance school, I've danced every day, I've put so much into it, like, I'm gonna go to some auditions and I'm gonna get jobs, like, I'm gonna be dancing in companies all the time. And then the reality of that was, well, it's not that. And, like, obviously I was teaching and I loved teaching. But there was a lot of jobs where I was doing a lot of promotional work. I didn't know what our next job was going to be. I was trying to pay the bills living in London because all the classes are there. Like things I'm sure we all talk about. Yeah, we all hear all the time. I think
Yeah.
it's not so easy as it seems. Yeah. And you've got to make a living. And these days it's even more expensive. So it's hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And that's where, you touched upon it. That's where we met at one of the promo jobs.
Yeah.
Like as a gigging kind of performer myself and as you as a gigging dancer. Like
Yeah.
what job was it? Was it the
National Gallery we did together at first, I
I
think.
think I think the third, do you know what? I think that
Mhm.
one. I think the
Oh,
first one, the wizarding one, like Harry Potter.
oh, I actually did love that. Like, I think I still got a photo of you on my phone. We're like dressed up as Harry Potter or something.
You're gonna have to send that so I could add it. Yeah.
Oh, no, I have to find
I'll
it.
put
It's
that.
there somewhere in my
I'll put that
iCloud.
as our photo together. Yeah, we basically were in Hogwarts, gowns, weren't
Yeah,
and we had one of those, like, what I can only describe as like a theatre ice cream tray
something like that.
with like wands
Yeah,
and like a donation box. It was like raising money for
so
charity, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
and
employed performers because we could switch it on basically and
yeah,
make it magical. And it was because wasn't it on St. Paul's, the Millennium Bridge near St.
it
Paul's, where
was.
they had
Yeah.
giant wands.
And it was a sunny day. I remember a good day because it was sunny. At least we were outside in the rain doing it.
Yes, it was lovely. And I think we kept that on off for a little while. But those wands, I mean, a lot of people probably remember seeing those wands on that bridge. Well,
Yeah.
ever walked past and you saw some people in, Hogwarts uniform. That was
Was this, yeah. So there was a
when
lot of that going on. That was probably like a little bit of a nicer one, but there was all sorts, wasn't there?
there was There was all sorts going on with that
Yeah.
job, but, it worked together, and then we realized we lived really close,
I
which was
know, literally like a walk across the park.
I know, I don't even know how we found that out. I think we might have, bumped into each other on the tube going to
Yeah,
lunch.
yeah, I think we did, you know.
Yeah.
Funny.
I think we literally got on from the same stop, and then we were like, "Are you
I know.
busy?"
Are you close? Yeah.
Yes, we both live in Mile End. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we did a lot of shifts together at the National Gallery, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Again, we're like a fundraising
Oh,
fund. So we
yeah.
within the arts world, Harry Potter in the National Gallery.
Yeah.
It's artistic, right?
Exactly.
That's what we'll tell ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the reality is, I know, exactly what you're saying, coming straight from, whether it's drama school, university, dance school, whatever kind of formal training you've had, coming out of that and going into kind of the real industry world, everyone will say it's like a little shock and
Yeah.
a snap to reality, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And I remember we spoke I think it might have been in that wizarding on job, whatever I'm calling it. But like, I'm like, need to stop saying Harry Potter. And we spoke about the fact that at that time we both didn't have agents because
No.
I was predominantly working within the kind of contemporary realm, and you were in the contemporary dance realm as well. And we
Yes.
just didn't really know where we fit, did we? Within
That's
that.
very true. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if these days I'm a little bit out the dance loop now, but it seems like
Mm.
some people maybe are represented more by agents in the contemporary world. But when, I first graduated anyway, like it didn't really feel like a thing. And unless you had that more
Like,
commercial background or a modeling background or something else to offer, yeah, just contemporary dancers didn't seem to be like recognized by agents really. And I think maybe things have changed. I'm not too sure, but
things are shifting for sure,
yeah.
and there is more of a space for everyone. But I do agree that when we, when we kind of were going into it within the early, oh God, when even was that, like 2000 and I can't even think what that was, like 2017
Yeah,
time.
yeah, I graduated 2016, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was, yeah,
Yeah.
so it would have been that year. And yeah, I was doing kind of like puppetry, physical theatre, those kind of real contemporary niche things, and it just didn't at that time. That's what I wanted to be mainly focusing on, and I just didn't really find representation.
No, yeah, and I almost like I don't even think I would even have tried to at the time. I remember like maybe a few years down the line being like, oh right, maybe I need to like think about this. But at the time, like, no, didn't think about it.
Yeah, same. I wasn't really. I was like, well, I looked, and it didn't really exist, and no one's really
Yeah.
approached me, so I'm just gonna do this on my own.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And go to auditions and
And
all the rest of it.
and then kind of, yeah, and did start doing it, and then obviously the fateful lockdown happened, and
Yeah.
we just survived and lived our life, didn't we? Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I kind of have gone more into a bit more of the commercial realm now again. But yeah, it was it. Absolutely. I'm glad that there is more representation out there
Me
for
too. Yeah, sounds good.
dancers. Um, and yeah, so let's like chat about your kind of your leap. Let's put it, your step
Yeah.
leap
Well, it
from
was
from a dancer to kind of the fitness world.
sure. So it was actually in lockdown, and I'd always been really interested in fitness. And I went to the gym and like, well, I didn't know what I was doing really, but I went to the gym. And as lockdown came, and I was like, like I need to look at different options here. And I remember doing lots of workouts online and really enjoying them. And then a couple of my friends set up a company online, Repose. They do a lot of flexibility
Yes,
yoga, all that kind of
I've
training.
went
They're
to many a
amazing.
class.
Yeah, really good. And I started teaching for them a little bit. And I got my level 2 fitness instructor. Um, yeah, qualification. So yeah, I was like starting to look into that world. And it always at first was like, well, what can I do to support my dancewear that's
Mm.
gonna be in the same field where I can keep fit doing it? And I think there was a little part of me that was like, oh, well, if I become a PT, like I think we've always, I don't know, I find being in the arts, especially like in the dance world, like there's like maybe an expectation on what you should look like and how to train your body and all these things. And I was like, well, I can become a PT and I can get into the best shape of my life because I'll know how to do it if I'm a PT. And I
Mm.
think it was all from this approach, which now looking back is like, that's so selfish. Like now I do it because I get to help people every day and like, I get to help them move more and get stronger and it's amazing. But at the time it was all kind of about me and like, how can I, you know, um, yeah, how can I be better? Maybe this is something I'll be interested in. I'll give it a go to support my dancing and maybe do a little bit less promo work,
Mhm.
and find a little bit more stability. So yeah, and then I ended up, just doing more. I also, had quite a bad hip injury with all my running, in
Yeah,
lockdown. Oh my
you're a runner. I did not,
God.
I did not join you on that. I think I was like the 1% that didn't become a runner during lockdown.
Oh, do you
I had
know,
to.
I did so much of it. And then there was like, yeah, this one time where I caught my foot in this sort of hole down Myland Canal and sort of tore
Oh
my
my God,
cartilage
I
in my hip.
remember.
Terrible.
Like
But then
with you and you being like, it's not okay.
I was like, I'm not okay. But I remember I learned so much and I was like, right, now I need to step away from the cardio a little bit and learn how to strengthen. And that wasn't something I'd ever done before. And I think that's something, in my opinion, especially back in the day, that we didn't have available to us as dancers. And I think to me, that's baffling now because I'm the strongest I've ever been from lifting weights. But I remember back then it was like, well, don't lift a weight because you might look bulky and you might be too big to be a dancer and all this kind of stuff. Like there was definitely this stigma there.
Mm.
But yeah, I started and I got this job. And yeah, now I ended up just loving it. And I sort of never looked back. And I didn't think that would be the case. And I always think I attached this feeling of success or who I was to dance. And I was like, well, I don't know who I am if I'm not a dancer and I don't know what I do.
Which I think is so true to a lot of people within the arts. I
Yeah.
think as performers, if you've ever performed and you've made a living performing, and that is your passion, and also
Yeah.
you earn your money, it's your career. It's not just your career; it's your identity.
Exactly. And I think I used to feel, like, well, that feeling when I'm on stage, like that adrenaline, nothing will replace that. So I need to make sure I keep doing that. And I guess like obviously I've taught dance and stuff, and maybe there was still like a little part of me that was like, maybe it's competitiveness. Like I was teaching, but I was like, gosh, I'm always kind of looking at others and being like, but what are they thinking of me as the teacher?
Mhm.
Am I good enough and all this kind of stuff? And then I sort of, yeah, got into training. It felt like I was just training for me and my body. And like, actually, there were thoughts before of like, I couldn't be a PT because PTs have to look a certain way, or like, there's a lot of different pressures. And I feel like becoming a personal trainer has made my relationship with food, exercise, and everything just so much better. And like,
Which is
I
like
love it.
so revolutionary and amazing to hear
Yeah,
from where your headspace was at as a dancer. And I think
absolutely.
that will
Yeah.
ring true to a lot of performers listening to this. I think,
Mm.
I've been there. I think most of us have been there where we think we need to look a certain way, literally look a certain way,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
be a certain size and be a certain shape to fill a role.
Exactly. But no, it feels like a real nice transition. And like now, like I don't dance anymore. Like, yeah, I dance in my kitchen and all that kind of stuff. And I taught a dance fitness class for a little while, but I honestly like I just love doing the personal training. Like it's so much fun. I have all my different clients that I see every day and like we just work on their goals and it feels really nice to be able to give back. And of course, like all my dancing has helped me with this because like especially like all my
Discipline,
flexibility, like
probably. I can imagine the discipline of being a dancer.
yeah, there's that for sure. Like, there's so many different skills, like, like the people skills, like all that promo work we did talking to all those people, of course,
You
like,
can talk to anyone now. You can sell your services to anyone because of that.
exactly. But like, yeah, yes, so many things that are transferred into it. And I feel like coming from a dancer's point of view, like all the work on mobility and like flexibility, and it's not just like, oh, well, obviously I'm not getting my clients to do the splits. Do you know what I mean? But like,
No.
I've got my oldest client who's 88 and he's incredible. And like, he actually can still do all these lunges. He's down and up on the floor. And he's always like, I never want to not be able to do my own shoelaces, Steph. And there he is
You're
doing
like,
push ups. And I'm like,
and then we're
that's
gonna keep
amazing.
you
Like,
going.
I get to be part of his journey for that. And that's just lovely. Like, yeah,
That's
really
so
nice.
nice. Like, and again, that's so nice that you found like a healthy way to use
Yeah.
your training, to use your experience, but also to kind of reframe some of those thoughts that, again,
Mm,
as women and as young women, still young women,
yeah.
then when we were definitely training in the industry, younger women, yep, I was certainly told things. One thing that I will never be able to change is I was told I was too tall, and I was like, well,
I was always tall. I've always felt that. I think that makes you want to shrink a little bit more, doesn't it? But there's no
100%.
reason for that. Like, it's ridiculous. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
Beautiful, and you're like, "Well, I can't actually change that." So, then you kinda go the other way, don't you? And you try and change yourself. You try and shrink yourself in another way.
Exactly. You think, "How can I be smaller?" Yeah.
It
No,
you're like,
it's
"I can't
true.
change my height, but I could be thinner." So that's how I could be smaller. I could take up less space.
Yeah, it's
And
so true. I keep
it
seeing as well recently, everyone's doing a coffee with their younger self. Have you seen some of those posts?
yeah.
And I think, like, I'd love to go back and be like, like, just to just say, like, you think all your success is based on dance, but you'll feel so much better. And, like, for anyone out there that maybe thinks that, how can I look at other things? Like, I don't know, just that feeling of you might feel really good doing something else. And I honestly have like no negative feelings or no like, oh, but I didn't make it or I didn't do this. Like
Mhm.
I feel like so settled and so good. And I think that's just so important. And like whatever that is for anyone, like, you can find it. And yeah, it might not be what you
100%.
thought it was gonna be.
And also, like, you mentioned earlier, you said you felt selfish just doing it for yourself. But I think if you hadn't have done that for yourself, you wouldn't have found
That's true.
helping people. So I think never,
Yeah.
well, basically, I'm kind of saying, no, Steph, don't say you were selfish because actually, again, as a performer, doing something for yourself as a performer, I think, is sometimes the least selfish thing you can do because we're
Yeah.
always doing something for other people. We're
That's true.
always auditioning for someone. We're always performing for someone. We're always creating for someone.
Yeah.
No, so I think actually
Doing
that's
something for you is important. Mm.
you said it felt selfish you were doing it for you, but I think it's like one of the least selfish things you could have done because now look where you are and the fact that now you've reframed it basically and gone, oh, actually,
Yeah.
because I found I love this, I can now help people.
Yeah, and help people live it, and I
Yeah.
think yeah, it's really nice, and yeah, I obviously used to go to the gym as a dancer, and, like, it's quite strange because I still think there's this gap, like, why are we not strength training? Like, I look back at the gym, I don't know if I should be saying this, but the gym at my dance school, and it was like a box, and there was a treadmill and a couple of dumbbells for the entire
Same,
school.
same where I went.
Sorry? Like,
Yeah. I went to like
what? How?
a
How is
uni
this
where the
possible?
art was nuts
Yeah,
and we had the smallest amount of equipment and a tiny dingy room that you just didn't want to be in.
exactly, and, like, yeah, I didn't know anything, and, like, I was when I started my PT journey, I think part of me thought, "Oh, I've got all this dance experience, like, I know lots," and it was a different kind of training that actually I think I really enjoyed learning about, and I think in my gym as well, I'm really lucky, like, all the people I work with, my colleagues, like, the other trainers, they're fabulous, like, they've got so much knowledge, and they did take me under their wing a little bit. I think they could have been, "Oh god, who's this dancer? She ain't got a clue. She's never lifted her weight properly, like, she's doing it all wrong,"
She
like
can high kick, put her leg above her head, but she can't.
and I actually it was quite good because I did my training to become level 3 as part of, the gym where I work now, so they hired me and then trained me, so that was really good.
That's really nice.
Yeah, and I felt like being a dancer, I was very, like, used to constructive criticism, like, obviously you have to try and do the job well, but I think we're used to being like, "Oh, okay, you're not doing that so well. Could you do it like this?" And I think that was helpful for me because I sort of made it I said to everyone, I was like, "Look, if you see me do something a little bit strange or if there's something you think I need to, like, improve on, please let me
Always.
know." And they did, and they really just, like yeah, they're so like I said, they're so knowledgeable. I think sometimes gym like, I don't know, gym bro can get a bit of a name for it, not gym bro, gym ladies, gym everyone, do you know, like, a bit of that
Yeah.
sort of,
I know
"Oh,
what you
lift
mean.
weights," and, like, I still get clients coming in and they think I'm gonna make them do loads of burpees or do, like, really heavy lifts, and that's not at all the case. Sometimes it's just moving and doing, like, body weight stuff. I've gone off a tangent. What was the
No,
point I
but
was
that's
gonna
kind
say?
of interesting. Cool, because it actually leads into that, what you were saying about sometimes people walking into a gym, it can feel overwhelming. It can feel like not your space. Actually having diverse people within the PT team, within the staff
Yeah.
team, in any
Yeah.
gym, surely it's only a good thing, isn't it? Because you've
Yeah.
someone that you relate to or that can help you. So I think coming from a dance background, coming from a different background,
We're very open, yeah.
well, there
Mhm.
we are as artists,
Yeah.
we're very open. Got that kind of personability to go with the skill,
Yeah, definitely,
which I
definitely.
just think is great. And I literally I've been to like many gyms over the time because I've moved and I've got bored of gyms or I don't like the classes they're doing, so I just move.
Yeah.
Because you can. And every time I've signed up to a new gym, I've met one of the PTs or one of the staff members, and they're always from a arts background.
Yes,
I've always met
interesting.
someone that has been in the performing arts in some
Yeah.
capacity, now translates their passion into fitness because it is
Yeah.
it is quite a hand in hand kind of.
That's it. I think I'm the only one actually at our gym, but
There's
yeah,
only
I'm that
two
person.
ones that
That's me.
represent.
But that's nice because it gives me something different and like, yeah, maybe I can focus a little bit more on mobility and flexibility because that's my background as well. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Did Aaron, your husband,
Yeah.
help with your like journey? Because he's obviously ex army, or is he still in the army?
Yeah, he's in the reserve, so he's still part-time army, part-time tree
Yeah,
surgeon. Yeah.
part time. I love that part time tree surgery.
Yeah.
And he was, obviously very fit for his job, but also just had a passion for it, didn't he? Did he kind
Yeah.
of like give you a bit of a
Absolutely. I
fire
think
as
like
well?
we always went to the gym together and like now, well, we'd never trained together because we drive each other mad. But yes, I was always inspired by him as well. And we used to go to that gym in Mile End. I can't remember that one. Do you remember that one? That was a bit of a funny gym, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit of a. What did we? I think we might have gone to a class there once together, and we were like,
Maybe.
never again.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd environment, that one. So my aim is always to make sure people feel comfortable enough in the gym. Not
Don't feel like us in that gym where we were like,
yeah, it was all good, isn't it? But yeah, no, Aaron's always been super supportive, and like, yeah, I think he always says to me that he feels like this is what I was meant to do. Like, so yeah,
oh,
he's always been great. Yeah,
cheerleader. He's such a cheerleader, and I
yeah,
think having someone that also just gets fitness right. That's just probably
yeah, definitely.
a
Aaron's
good
definitely
thing.
that person where I've managed to do some pull-ups now. It took me a really long time, but now I can do pull-ups, which is a cool thing. But of course, Aaron could already do like millions of pull-ups and God knows what else. So it's always a
Yeah,
bit of a, well, I can prove to you I can do them too.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think, and it's really nice. Like you've said exactly. I had another guest on the podcast called Harry Baker. He's a musician, and he's also transitioned kind of within, into the fitness industry as well. And he is now he did PTing, but now he's like gym manager, and does more of kind of that stuff. But he said exactly the same as what you said. He just loved helping people through it
Yeah. Very
in
nice.
their best selves and to support them and to have that community. Do you feel like it's quite like a nice community within your gym?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really, really lovely. Everyone, yeah, even when I first started, I remember there was a guy and he's about 70. And he said, "Do you want to play tennis?" And he said, "You look like a little deer in the headlights." And he took me and we played tennis. Um, and now he comes to all my stretch classes every week. And now we've got him in the gym. So it's really nice. Someone that made me
Nice.
feel welcome, I've been able to give back to. So yeah, and he goes on holiday and he sends me pictures and he's in pigeon pose. And he's like, "Look, I've been teaching people the stretches." And like that's just so nice. Like,
Yeah.
mm,
Just having that community because
yeah,
again, like art can be an amazing community, but it can also sometimes feel like a very lonely place. Es-
absolutely. Yeah,
Especially if you're not getting the bookings, you're not getting the gigs, or the ones that you are getting aren't quite fulfilling that
mm,
are in that need.
yeah. And I think even like when I was maybe teaching dance and stuff, as you're a freelancer, you're going out and you're not never maybe getting to see other people do it. Like, okay, sometimes maybe, but you're kind of like you go to that workshop and you deliver it, and then you don't get to maybe like take ideas from other people and share, like, and you
Mhm.
don't have those conversations in the staff room where you're like, oh, I did this for this person, or what did you think of this? And like that's been so useful for me having that community and people to
It's
share with.
very insular, isn't it? It's very, and especially
Yeah.
what you said, and I think I could definitely relate to that. Again, definitely living in the city when we lived in London, it was just here, there, and everywhere, but on your
Yeah.
own. And
Exactly.
again, you drop in, you drop out, you drop in, you drop out,
Yes.
and you see your participants, but you didn't have like a work relationship with them. Like you were saying, it wasn't like a community. It was like I am teaching you, I am facilitating you. There's got to be a boundary. And also it's in out, isn't it? It's like,
Exactly.
we're done. Done.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
And you don't get that kind. And I will say that is one good thing that the promo company we worked for, I'm not going to
That
say
was cute.
change name now anyway, um,
Yeah.
was was good for that because it,
They
they
were. They
only
were really great. Mm.
they're the people in the art, and so we all got to actually have a community and
Yeah.
where we did a bit of downtime. I mean, there wasn't a lot of downtime with those
No.
gigs. They were, but when you did, you could relate to each other and you could be like, chat
Yeah.
about an audition or run lines, or you could just say, "Oh, do you want to meet for a
Sure.
coffee?" And go, like us two finding out where we lived near each other. So then we were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, let's go for a walk," and then we'd always chat about stuff.
It was,
Um,
yeah, some great people there. Like, yeah, you'd turn up and you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm with you today. This is gonna be a good day."
literally, I feel like I've got so many like career friends from that.
Yes, for
And people like
sure.
still follow their journey and I still talk to you like you. And it's just so nice. Like, so that was like a little community in itself, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And when talking of that, what is like the oddest job you have ever done? Because I feel like it's gonna be one within that, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, immediately popping into my head is being dressed up as a prawn in London, like all kind of things like this. Yeah. Yeah, I did that one. And then just like really hoping I wouldn't bump into anyone because that's quite embarrassing.
That was literally I was I was thinking about that one on another episode and I
Oh,
turned one down. I was
everybody's
like,
like prawn in London.
see what you said. I was like, I can't be like a sushi bento box with like the prawn on my head in like
So funny.
as well with like the finance bros.
Yes, it absolutely was. So people were just like, come on, this is ridiculous. Like, yeah. But
And
I wasn't actually
it was
into
for
that.
food app, wasn't it? It was for food
Yeah.
app. Then I remember they ended up bringing me in within the middle and said, "Look, will you do it for us if you team lead and we won't make you dress up?" And I was like, "Okay."
He did it in the end. So that was one that came to head. But I was actually going to talk about another promo job that I did. And it was working at Tesco's, but it was you know, when you'd like promote samples or something. I felt like I did a lot of these, which for a different company, but you know, I can't remember what the sample was, but let's say it was crackers. And I had all this brief before it was always big, serious documents when actually all you're doing is stood offering a couple of crackers to people. But I remember it was like a measuring factor. So there was maybe crackers and some cheese, but you had to cut the cheese and it was like a measurement of how small a piece of cheese each person had to have and how your stand had to look. And it was honestly like the most boring, minimal thing. I sort of got there and the first thing on my list was go speak to a manager at Tesco's. I went my little thing, I was on my own. And I met this lady and she was wonderful. And she was like, right, well, we're going to go into the back room. We're going to do this. And I'm not kidding. She set up like a buffet for Tesco, right? And on my brief, I was like, oh, sorry, just as I have to put 3 samples at a time. And, you know, that's really fast. She was like, well, we're not doing that. What fun is that? She's like, let's set up a buffet. Like, and she literally went around the whole shop. Like, and she's like, I'm the manager. I make the calls. And it was around Christmas time. And she literally, like, I can't even tell you. It was like a buffet for like a party of 100. Like everyone walked
No.
all day. Massive stand, like a paper plate. It was paper plates. I was literally given these tiny little like napkins or something. So it was so small.
And you
And
had
like
like the whole party shop now.
absolute. And I was just all day eating, like walking around with my paper plates, profiteroles, like people going around Tesco's, mountains of fish. And I was like, how wonderful is this? Have you ever heard of this before? I don't think so.
That's amazing.
So buffet at Tesco is a task to take the top the
Wait,
winning role there.
you're so right. Everyone knows those little like tasting stalls where you're like
Yeah.
stood there and you're waiting for your tiny little like shot glass
Yeah.
half a cocktail sausage in.
Brilliant, honestly.
And did she get told off or did she just get full rate?
The manager said she would decide do what I want. Like,
I love that. And you were just following around eating.
yeah, I was just like stood at the store. Like, anyone want a buffet? But I didn't know where this stuff had come from or who had paid for it or what had gone on. But yeah, it was all on
But it
offer
was
for
great.
everyone. Yeah.
I bet you were literally like full for days. You were like, well, I've been
Yeah,
fed.
that was a good day. I was like, well, I'm not bored here. I'm eating.
Yeah, no, don't have to make dinner. Great. I've earned money. I won't spend money.
Yeah, I win.
That was always a bonus. If you got like food on a job and you were like, great, I don't want to buy dinner on the way home at like Tesco Express or the really expensive co-op in the corner.
So true. Yes, that co-op is very expensive.
Only expensive, but like, did we ever have food in because we were gigging
I
performers?
know. This is it. Yeah.
No, we were busy gals. We were busy gals.
Exactly.
Living in the city, living in the
Yeah.
city. Then talking of like busyness and like creativeness within the city, you come from like a creative family, let's say. You come from
Yeah.
like, from creative dads. Your dad's like a TV personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's on the Gadget Show.
Yes, which has changed name. It's now
Oh, yeah.
Shop Smart Save Money. It's just
Oh,
name
shop
now.
what save
The
money.
Gadget Show, yeah, still lives on.
I love that it's still going because I literally remember like getting home from school, you know, you'd start eating your dinner or whatever, and like that would come on. I just remember
Yeah.
it. And I remember when I think it was ages into our friendship that like, because again, something you're just going to be like, by the way, my dad.
No, it feels weird to say, doesn't it? Yeah. And to me, that's like normal. That's just like, yeah.
You just grew up with that because he's literally been on it forever,
Yeah.
which is amazing. And I remember you said that, I was like, "No, no, God, no, that's not your dad." I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Oh, Google." I was like,
We
"That's
do. We do look very alike.
yeah, I know. Now we've said it. I know. As soon as you said it, I was like, "Oh yeah, of course
I
that's your
see
dad." Yes.
it.
So did you ever feel like from that, did you ever feel like a pressure to be within the spotlight, or did you feel like the opposite? Did you just feel like there was like a nurturing, creative
Yeah,
environment?
I think like yeah, there was never like I think sometimes it can be hard as a young person wanting to go into arts and your parents are like, oh well, is that going to be the right career for you? And there was never any of these talks. Like it just felt like, yeah, if that's what you're gonna do, go for it. Like we'll support you, it's fine, no problem. Like and obviously I was like lucky enough that they would take me to my dance lessons and all that kind of stuff. They always said, like do your schoolwork, like do your A levels, which I did. But yeah, I always felt really supported by them. So there was never, yeah, never any issues there. Yeah.
That's not, it was like wasn't pressure, and there also
But
wasn't.
no, yeah, no pressure either. Yeah, no,
Like,
no. Yeah, I think it was just always like that's dad's job. Like it was just like I don't know, maybe I didn't even see it as that at the time. Like I didn't even
yeah,
see it as like dad's really creative and dad writes all these things and he does like all his presenting, he writes his own scripts. Like I
yeah.
didn't even think like it was just like, oh, dad's doing his work in his study. Like
And he's there like in a creative
yeah.
mastermind, writing the scripts, producing the
Exactly.
stuff. And you're like, yeah, he's just. But as a kid, though, you do. You're just like they're working.
They're working, yeah.
Yeah, they're working. But that's nice as well. That it wasn't like made to be like a big thing. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? And
yeah.
it was just like that was his job, and that was it. And how
Yeah.
did it come about you studying internationally? I'm super fascinated by like
Well, this is interesting actually. So I think when I graduated, well, in my third year, everyone was auditioning for postgrad. Like certainly in contemporary, it felt at the time like you must do a postgrad. Like postgrad is the next thing, like next
yes,
thing you should pay for. Like I don't know, but it felt like you've got that's what you do.
yeah.
Um,
I nearly did one. Yeah,
yeah. So I auditioned and got rejected from a school in the first round, which was fun. And then had to continue the rest of the third year, knowing that your teachers well, no, even if any of them were to listen now, like everything happens for a reason. But I
it's
remember
the
at the
name of the
time
game, but
thinking
still,
like,
it.
oh God, like this is quite sad. Now, obviously, I don't think I'm crap. Like,
Yeah.
but then yeah, auditioned for all the others in the UK, didn't get in. And then there was this lady that I'd seen. She's called Corinne Rocher, and she's French. And I remember going to
I was
a
about
summer
to say, can
school.
everyone just tell from that accent that Steph is half French?
Yeah. I remember me and my friend James, same James from James Squared, who choreographed Legally Blonde, went
Yeah,
to Switzerland to do some school. He'd actually broken his foot, so couldn't do it, but he came with me to the trip.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, this lady I'd seen online, and I thought, wow, she's amazing. Like I'd seen her dance, and I knew she was a choreographer and a dancer, and I did her some school. Well, she was one of the teachers teaching. And I remember thinking, God, I love her. Like she's awesome. And then yeah, like they have a company in Switzerland called Le Marche Pied. And I was like, I'm gonna audition, like I'm gonna go over to Switzerland, audition, why not? Like I didn't really know what would come of it, but I remember just being like, that would be cool, like and I got in. So then I just went and did it. But it was really good. It was Switzerland's expensive. Um
yeah. Yeah.
I remember going into
You
Germany
could have
with
gone just
your
right over to France, couldn't you? Like a little bit cheap.
I know. I had like a euro and I was like, what can I buy? Like, and I remember thinking like, oh no, not a Swiss franc. Yeah, this is like, I can't remember the
Yeah,
equivalent exactly, but yeah, at the time, not very much. Like, but you'd think, oh, maybe I'll buy a chocolate bar. Or I'll buy, probably not a chocolate bar, something healthy. I'll buy a bag of apples or something.
yeah.
And I remember her thinking, oh God, I can't buy anything. Like, everything's so expensive. But I used to nanny or childmind out there, and I did as well. So these are the other jobs that come into it. English tuition out there. So
Yes.
trying to do extra little jobs on the side for a bit more money. But yeah, that's what took me there, and I think that was a really good time as well because after all this world of competitiveness and audition in the UK, I was like, oh, there's a whole world outside of here, like, and other dancers from around the world, other people, and
That
yeah,
must
like,
have been
great.
such a like an nourishing experience, like you said, to meet different
Yeah.
cultures, also live in a different culture.
Yeah. And I think even back then, like I was always doing my fitness, like I'd dance and I'd do my little workouts in my room. I'd go running like in the mountains. And I say running like it was more of a little very light jog uphill, like that finished with a bit of a walk. But yeah, like it was a real good time, I think, for me, just to just go out there and be brave and go and do it by
Yeah,
myself. Yeah.
good for you. How long were you there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice. And then from that, did you move straight to London from that?
Yeah, so then I moved to London, did all the house sharing and yeah, just
Yeah.
trying to teach, a lot of after school club teaching,
Wow.
yeah, and then promo jobs and
Another culture shock.
yeah, and yeah, did a few jobs, in the industry, like, yeah, but it's
And
hard.
you've lived, Steph. Do you know what I mean? You've lived.
Yeah.
But we've lived within doing that, and I think all those little odd jobs I've spoken about this quite a lot with other artists on this podcast. That all the little odd jobs and the filler jobs just make us even more creative within whatever path we've chosen to go down. Bring in
Definitely.
all the creativity within your fitness journey.
Sure, exactly. Yeah,
Mm.
it's made me who I am for sure. Yeah, really grateful
Absolutely.
for that. I wouldn't change it. Yeah.
No, even though
Mm.
at times it's been bloody hard, right?
Yeah, I think it's hard because you go from something. For dance was like my hobby. I loved it. I also wanted it
Mhm.
as a career, but I think then when you start merging that of this is what I love, but I have to make money on it, and I'm not making money on it. Like
Mhm.
that's the really hard realization I think sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you'll ever go and just go into like a adult dance class as a participant?
Yeah, sure. Like, I think I'd probably love that now. Like,
Yeah.
I think there was definitely a time where maybe I resented it a little bit for that reason. Cause I was like, I just don't even want to go. I don't want to go to pro class because I feel like I feel the pressure to go and I feel like I actually
And it's
want
my
that
job.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I'd be like, but if I go to that, then, maybe it starts at 11 and then I'm done and like I've got to get the train there. So that's my morning gone. Like, and then I'd go and then, then it's like 1 or whatever time it was. And then you kind of like, well,
Mm.
what's next? And then I haven't been paid for all that time. And like, it's difficult, isn't it? And I used to find
Yeah.
that battle of wanting to go, but being like, but I also need to make money. I need to pay the bills. And I mean, I'm like a broken record. It's probably something you hear all the time. Like it's
No, but I
difficult
think
to
it's
find that
important
balance.
to just let people know of that reality. And
Mhm.
I exactly the same. Again, I was talking, I'm not on this podcast. I was just talking to someone who lived in London at the same time as us, uh,
Yeah.
before lockdown, pre-lockdown, when we had a life. She, we would say that, those promo jobs that we had to do, in the middle of the day, and then sometimes like you said, you'd be freelancing in the morning and then kind of auditioning in the evening.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't have auditions or you didn't have a performance you were in, those
Mm.
promo jobs exhausted you.
It's so tiring, like, my body would just hurt from just being stood up, like,
Just stood up
just
and just
talking and, like, yeah,
constantly
it's
using your voice and
hard.
talking, that by the time you got home, when you were like,
You'd be
"Okay,
drained.
this evening, I'm gonna be creative, I'm gonna do some writing,
Yeah, it'd
I'm
be
gonna
too
apply
hard.
some auditions." I had no energy to do it.
Exactly, and I
Like,
think
I'm working more now that I've moved out of London than I was when I was
yeah,
in London.
but it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, like, to all the people out there who are, like, striving for it, and I think, like,
Mm.
if you just keep going, like, you will get there. Like, I
Yes,
probably think if I'd have kept on going, I mean, who knows? Like I probably could have kept on making it work, and you find those ways to make it work. You do, like,
absolutely. And God, hats
find a
off
different
to those people who
that's
are
it.
still doing those, you know, the grind in London,
Yeah,
those jobs that are exhausting, and then digging deep and finding that energy to then be creative. Like,
for
honestly, hats off to
sure.
you, because I can remember how hard that was,
It
and
is.
it didn't
And
always work for me. It didn't always work.
no, me too. And I have friends who it has worked for, and like
Yeah.
I'm so happy that it has, and I can see how hard they've worked for it.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's like it doesn't come without sacrifices, but
No,
if you want it,
100
you can get it. So I never want to say like, I've gone on to do PT because it
no.
like it wasn't working maybe for me, but like I know it works for other people, and
It's
like
just
yeah, I think it's amazing.
it's just a journey, a different journey for everyone, isn't there? And absolutely that, like, what you said, the only way I made it work was I just didn't have a life.
Exactly. And now I
And
can look really fondly on like I'm gonna watch two of my other friends actually, Sam and Anna, who have Northern Rascals company up
yeah,
north, and they're coming to Wolverhampton, which I live in Worcestershire, so that's near to me. And I get to go and like watch them, and like it's so nice, and it's almost like, yeah, I'm so happy for them, and it's like kind of a relief. Like I never thought I'd say this. It's a relief for me to sit there and be like, gosh, I don't have to get up on that stage. I don't have to prove to
I
anyone
can
that I
just
can
watch.
dance. Like I can just watch and enjoy and
Us.
be really proud of them, and like, and it's so funny because if you go back to like what we were saying about, yeah, meet yourself for a coffee ages ago, I'd be like, oh, but I probably feel really low about that because I've never made it. And it's
Mm.
like, no, Steph, you won't feel like that. Like, and it's just it's really nice realization as well, isn't it? Yeah.
And that word, that phrase, made it or making it,
Yeah. What does that even
it's
mean? Yeah.
it's
So
like
true.
such a loaded phrase in our industry.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we need to almost like reclaim it because
Yeah.
like what does making it mean for you?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's it. And I think it's other people's perceptions as well. Like people maybe that aren't in the industry, they're like, oh, what have you been in? What can I see you on TV? Like,
Yeah.
all those things that we've heard so many times. Like, are you
Yeah.
dancing with One Direction? Are you doing this? Like,
And
like, and they just don't really get it. Like, and I think that's that's hard to battle as
they're
well.
like, they don't know what that means. And you're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Look at
exactly.
and that's
But yeah,
even more sometimes soul destroying because you're like, okay, you don't even know what genre I'm in.
I understand. Yeah.
And absolutely, again, it's loaded. And I actually shared something on I'm going to get it up on my Instagram because I feel like this is super relevant. I shared something on my story that I saw from Equity, and it said regional theatres that can't attract Hollywood names find it harder to sell their big shows because for years the public has been told that the most important factor is whether you the most important factor in whether you should watch something is how famous the people in it are.
This is so true, isn't it? Yeah.
I was like, there's such amazing work being done up and down the country. And
Absolutely.
this is regional theatre. I think London theatres are finding it hard to sell their shows unless they've got
Mhm.
name as
Mhm.
well. Regional, it's even harder.
Mhm.
Do you think that whole like the public have been told by the media and the public have that perception now, that preconception of unless there's a big name in it, has big, what's the point in going to see it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is
You're right.
such a damaging reflection on like the artists that work
Yeah.
so hard and
Sure.
are talented, but don't get, like we were just saying, seen. The big
Yeah.
stuff.
Definitely.
And again, it's about that reframing, isn't it? And I think it's easier like us to reframe how we think about making it. So
Mhm.
for me, that's making it now. And as
Yeah.
comfortable and happy, I feel like that should be enough.
That is that. Yeah.
But reframing it for an audience and the public,
That's the hard
and
part. I think you're
and
right. Yeah.
the beast, isn't it?
Yeah.
It
Yeah. But I think what you said about, yeah, like I feel happy, like I wouldn't change a thing. Like that's how I feel. And like that's really, isn't that making it? Like, do you know what I mean?
like yeah, isn't that making it? And again, different for everyone. Those people that are
yeah.
still just striving and just doing their best work in London. Oh my gosh, like amazing! Like they are doing it as well.
Literally.
But then like
Yeah.
the more regional theatre, I feel like I'm doing it too, but for me, like in a different
That's
way.
it. Same. Yeah. And like sometimes I don't know how I did it. Like think of dancing all day, every day. Like, yeah, like I'm like, oh
But also with your PT and like you've like changed career paths. Like that's also a huge thing. It's like, and I think that's the thing as well. I think we shouldn't be afraid in pivoting,
definitely.
not
Yeah.
not trying to do it all. Because like you said, when you first
Yeah.
started, we could do it alongside it, and then it's just, oh, but is that
I think that's so true, which I actually did start doing at first. Like at first, yeah, I was trying to do dance and I was trying to do PT and I was quite overwhelmed because I was starting at like, well, it actually overlapped because I was kind of like, I'm going to start doing my PT and I'd started, yeah, obviously doing,
Mm.
doing PT because I didn't want to have to do those promo jobs. And I remember like, I then got a job, doing the Commonwealth Games, opening ceremony.
Yeah. Oh, right,
And
yeah.
that was like, I was like, why has this come now? Like now, like I was like, I'm just started and I kind of want to look good because I want to stay at the gym where I'm working and they're paying for me to this course and everything. But now this
Mm.
happened. I was like, why does the universe do this? And I
Yeah.
remember I was going to the gym from like 5:30 in the morning, till about like 9. And then I was going to rehearsals from like 10, sometimes till 10. It was like really long days because we had to perform, practice in the evenings when the light was gonna go down to check all that kind of stuff as well, because it was gonna be performed as it was going into
Oh.
nighttime. And then there'd be even some days, yeah, even if we didn't finish early, I was going back to the gym and it was like 6 days a week. Like, and I don't
Mm.
know how I did it, but I did it. And it's just so funny that, yeah, now, like you said about things interchanging, and then I sort of tried to carry that on, like with other jobs, and I'd be getting up super early, then going
And
to,
again,
and
you
then
could have done that if you
I could
wanted.
have, yes, that's so true. I could
Yeah,
have done it. Yeah,
because
like
you did it.
done it. And yeah, and then it was like I had to like please. the company because it wasn't, they were like, oh, we thought you didn't really want to dance anymore. Like, and I think because it was the Commonwealth, they were like, oh, well, this sounds good. It looks good for the gym. Like, you can do it and everything. And they were very supportive in the end. But yeah, like it was one of those things where like, if I'd have tried to juggle both, I think it would have been too much to do one right. But yeah, like, of course
Yeah.
people can do it. Like, but
It's
yeah.
just it's like we can do it. We can be
Yeah,
more
but
than
should
one
we? And
thing.
where's that like work-life balance? And I think
That's it,
that's
isn't
kind of
it?
like, I love it now when I can come home after yesterday and I'm gonna walk my dogs and like gonna have a Kobe's time, It's great. It's happiness for me.
Talking about that, like the job you've got at the moment, like
Yeah.
you've got benefits, Steph. What's that
Oh
like?
yeah, definitely. So I'm like employed, but which is
Tell
like
us,
unheard
tell
of.
us on the podcast what that's like, because most people
Yeah.
won't know.
So I get sick pay, holiday pay, like maternity pay, like, things like this, which is really nice. And I think like, yeah, something that definitely makes you feel more stable.
Not statutory
Yeah,
and government
yeah.
of being self-employed, which we know is shocking.
And yeah, there's that security there as well that like, obviously we still have to have clients and deliver sessions and like do a good job.
Mhm.
But yeah, it just, there's always people coming in and like, they really help with that. So it feels
Yeah.
like I'm quite lucky where I work really, to have that. And like things like we're looking to get a house and like getting a mortgage, like it's all gonna look good on paper.
And
So
again, like
yeah.
this is a chapter of your life and you can always change it if you want to. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's like such a big learning curve. I think it comes with age, but it also comes with
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
within this industry. Like
Yeah.
it just and again, you are a walking poster girl, a walking proof for the fact that everybody needs the art in their life. Because if you had not
Sure.
trained dancer, if you had not been within the arts world, you would not be where you are today, and you would not
Yeah. It's
brilliant.
definitely taken me on that journey, yeah.
Wouldn't be as good as you are at your fitness job, I don't think.
Definitely, yeah, you learn a lot of skills, I think,
And
that's
it's
for
just like
sure.
government need to just keep funding the arts, and it's like
Yeah.
it can work. So
Yeah,
that's the house.
definitely.
And it's really, yeah, and thank you for talking about it so openly today. It's just been really
Oh,
nice to
anytime.
kind of reframe, you know, the whole I've gone into something different, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't
Can't
we don't
reiterate it
hear
enough. Yeah, yeah.
we don't hear it enough. We don't hear it enough. Just
Yeah.
fall away and not, and that's how we see it, fall away. And it's like, but no, actually, you've risen and you've flown into
Yeah. And
something.
you can like, I love dance, like, I still love dance, I loved it, like, but you can love something else as well, like, it doesn't
Yeah,
just have to be that one thing, and that
100%.
one thing that's supporting it. It can be something that, you, like, really, really, really enjoy even more, so it's nice, it's worth trying, isn't it?
I mean, what is it? If you don't try, you never know. That's just
Yeah.
literally that. I'm a quote book today, I feel like
Yeah, I love it.
yeah, thank you so much for, being part of the art and
Yeah.
sharing where you're at now with your fitness journey.
Yeah.
A lovely chat, and I'm gonna hold you to us going to see Mean Girls in London.
Absolutely, I'd love it. Thank you again for having me on, it's so nice to chat to you.
Thanks, Steph. Oh. Thank you so much for listening to Parts of the Arts. If you enjoyed this episode or any of the others, please subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Also, we would love it if you could support this passion project by buying us a coffee. All the info is below. Thank you and see you next time.